Okay, so welcome back to part 2 of this lesson. So now we're going to look at inputs. Okay, so we have some built-in components that are used for inputs here. So we have buttons, and we have a light sensor, we have a compass, and we have an accelerometer, and we also have a temperature sensor. So we're going to try and use some of those for our inputs here for this next task. So also additional devices can be connected through the GPIO pins. Okay, so for this one we're going to open up activity sheet 2 here, and you'll see it's on Teams as well. So if I scroll over, there it is, activity sheet 2. It should be inputs. Okay, so let's have a look at what it says. So the first thing is just a bit of code that we used before that we tested out in the first lesson. So we're just going to copy that. I'm going to put it into my MU editor here, and I'm just going to connect it in. If you haven't done so already, you should have connected up your microbit for this activity. So I'm just going to paste that in there. I'm going to switch over to show both devices there. There it is, yeah. So this is the code we were using the last time, the little sparkle code. So I can just tidy this up a little bit, but it should still work okay. That should work fine, and I can take this out as well. So let's see what happens when I hit flash there. Okay, so you can see face up means it shows a little smiley face. If I tilt it forward, it goes off. Face up, it goes back on. Face forward, it goes on. Tilt it to the side, again, same idea. So it can detect if it's face up. And of course, if you flip it right over, it's going to be off, of course, as well. Okay, so there we go. That one, we know it works now. If you've had any problems, then make sure you check the cables, check the connections, and hopefully it'll be able to be fixed. Okay, so let's have a look then at the next part here. And okay, so we're going to look at, first of all, is the light sensor here. So the actual LEDs actually on this little device can also be used to detect light. So if I just switch over there, these little LEDs on the front can also be used to detect light as well as display a light. So we're going to take some of this code here, and we're going to place that in here. So I'm going to just scroll it up a little bit. So here again, we're going to take this code, copy it in. Let's see what happens. Gonna put it into my microbit. Yeah, that should be fine. So what's this code doing? We have a variable here called light, which stores the value display.read light value, which is going to be from our LED, and it's going to display.scroll light, and then it's going to go to sleep. So hopefully, if I hit flash here, it's got the light level here, 75. So if I turn off my little light here, so it says 78. Let's see, does that make it go down? Oh yeah, it says there's no light now at all. Actually, that's interesting. So if I put it back on, okay, it goes up. So if I hold my finger over it, actually, it should, yeah, say no. Yeah, if I hold my hand over it, goes down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So it does work, actually. That's interesting. Let's see then what's our next task. So don't forget to take a screenshot, Command Shift 4, screenshot your code like that, and place it into today's assignment. Okay. Okay, let's switch over to see what the next task is. Here, let's just move those around so I can get that one first. Okay, so step 2, remove the lines that say display light values as you no longer need them. Replace them with the statements below. So it says, where it says display.scroll light. So take these 2 lines away, and then we're going to take, then we're going to add, but make sure you leave this line in there. So you can see it's got 2 minuses here, and delay, we're going to look at that in a minute. So I'm going to copy that. So fill in the statement that says between the blink lines 3 times the value. So again here, 3 times the value of the light. So you can just multiply this here by 3 and it should work. So let's just try that then. Copy this code and then go over here, turn on my... So again, we only need to get rid of these 2 lines, that's what it said, and paste those 2 and make sure that's deleted away. So I see there's an error there. So actually I think I copied a dot, so you don't want that. Make sure you don't copy that over, or if you do, make sure you delete it because it won't work. You'll have an error on your code. I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit so it looks better. So here we want the delay to be 3 times the light. So I'm going to have light, and multiply on a computer is the star. I'm going to write star, which is Shift 8 on the keyboard. Multiply by 3. So let's see what happens when I do that. There we go. So it's flashing. Let's see if I turn off the light, what will happen. There we go. So it changes depending on how much light it gets. So if I put my finger over it, you can see it's changing the effect here. Again, if I turn off the light, it's giving me a different effect. So it says show square, and it changes the delay based on how much light there is there. So that's pretty cool. So again, I just turn on the light. You can see it's flashing. Turn off the light. Okay, very cool. So again, take a screenshot of that code and then place it into your team for today's assignment. And just switch back over here. So that's task 2. Step 3, flash the program to see if it runs. Place your hand over the display. So we already did that actually, and we've seen it changes and it's a shining light. So now that's the light sensor. We're going to look at buttons next. So task 2 here, we'll look at the buttons. So I'm going to copy this code, see what it says. Answer this question. Can you briefly describe what you expect from this code? So while true, so that means it's a continuous loop. If button B was pressed, x equals x plus 1. So you're adding 1 to x, and then we're going to display.show x. So I think it will show x, and depending on if we press this button, this value of x should go up. So let's try that and see. Again, I'm going to paste that code in and clean it up a little bit. So you notice as well, this is indented. So this is indented here, and then this is also indented here, and then this is back out here. So what that means is everything in here is repeated over and over again, and everything in here is repeated over and over again, and then this is indented because if we press the button B, then we add 1 to the value. So that's what we're trying to do there. Okay, so let's see if that will work then. So let's flash our code. So you can see it says 0 there, and if I press the button, it has to be the B button, of course. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keeps going. So once I go above a certain value, it only shows, yeah, so it's showing the 1, 2, which is 12. So if I do that, that's 1, 3, 13, and it keeps going. So yeah, so it's a counter. It's just counting the values there. There we go. So that's an input. Cool. And let's try the next one then. So again, take a screenshot of your code here. Command Shift 4. Take a screenshot. Let's just check. Flash the program, press the button B, we've done that. What is the initial value of x variable? Of course, it was 0, because here It says 0 because we initially set it to 0 there. How is the value of x variable modified? So every time we press the button B, we complete this command. So we take whatever value is in x, in this case it starts with 0, and then we add 1 to it. So pretty straightforward, I think. So extend your program so the value x is decremented by 1 when you press A. Okay, so we can have a look at that. So after this bit, we need to have another if statement. So I can literally copy this here, paste it. So this time instead of B, we want A, and instead of adding, we want subtracting. So let's try that then. So now you can see here I've got 0. Oh, sorry, I just flashed off there. So 0 goes up and down, and then I can go down like that. So I've got a little counter, goes up and down. Okay, very cool. So that's again an input, and of course the display is the output. So that's again task 2 completed there. So again, take a screenshot of your code to make sure you've done that. And we'll move on to task 3 here. So task 3 then, we're going to look at the tilt, which is the accelerometer again. So replace the if statements that check if the dot on display should move left or right. Instead of checking if the A button was pressed, your program will check if the user performed the gesture tilting. Okay, if the accelerometer was gesture tilt, so if you're not sure where they are, they're right here. So I can click here to find them. So we've got left and right here, so we can check that. So so if I change this code here, so we're going to take out this option and we're going to add this one in. So I'm going to take that, copy. I'm going to add it in here. So the gesture should be, let's just check what it says here. I think it has to have speech marks around it. Yeah, accelerometer, current gesture. And it should be left or right or whatever. I think it is. It needs to have a speech mark around it. Doesn't show it there, but I can nearly guarantee that's what it needs. So you need to have speech marks around left, and does it have to be capital? No, it doesn't. Okay, left, and then this one again, we can copy and paste that in, and it should be right. Okay. Oh, I made a mistake there. The speech marks aren't matching. They have to be either 2 doubles or 2 singles. So flash that. Oh, something is wrong. Doesn't like it. Something on name something. The names are not correct. If accelerator. Let's just check what it says here. Was gesture. Okay, let's try it and see. I think it maybe need to be double speech marks maybe. Let's see, does that work? And flash it maybe. Nope, didn't like that either. So maybe it doesn't need any speech marks. Okay, so let's try and see. So if A is if accelerator. Let's try this then. Is gesture name? Yes. It says string, so interesting. Let's try again. I think we got it to work at the very beginning. Maybe it needs to just check. It says, there it is. It says speech marks there. So maybe it should be is gesture, not was gesture. We have the same. Maybe there's a mistake here, is there? Yeah, so it says accelerator. Note you tilted. So there is obviously a mistake here. So it'll be not just accelerator. I think it says it here, accelerometer. So that's not correct. So they've made a mistake in this document, I think. So it should be accelerometer. So let's take this. Yeah, because this, let me just check. Yeah, that's not correct. That's the wrong word. Okay, accelerometer. So let's try that. And it does say you need to have speech marks in there. And here. So that's what it was saying on my BBC Microbit. Is actually saying it was wrong. So let's try that then. And hit flash. There we go. So it didn't like the fact that I had. So if I tilt it to the right, it goes up to 1. Oh, it says -1 there, so let's try it this way. 2, 3, 4, so it's counting 5. So I'll go back this way. Goes down, and we go this way, goes back up. So we can see it's detecting the accelerometer. So you have a bit of fun with that one and see what other ways you could do it. You could have one where you shake it, for example, and it gives you like a random number between two values, because then it could become like a dice, for example. Let's see what else it wants us to do next then. So I think that's task 3 complete. So again, you should take a screenshot of this, Command Shift 4, and then the Explorer task. Add a button. Any button can be regarded as a binary digit. When a button is pressed, it corresponds to 1. Otherwise, it's 0. 2 buttons in the microbit represent 2 binary numbers. The table below gives you the value. So in binary, when you talk about binary in computer science, 0, 0 represents 0, but then 0, 1 represents the value 1. And 1, 0 actually represents the value 2 in denary, and then 1, 1 equals 3, because each time you go up, so it goes 1, 2, and then it goes 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on along here. So it says copy the code below and complete it so that the decimal value is displayed equivalent to 2 binary numbers represented in the buttons. Yeah. Okay, so we could copy the code. So we need to try and get it to, let's try that then. So here, so if 0 is, if button A is pressed, then it should display 0. If button 1 is pressed, it should, oh no, if none of them are pressed, it should present 0. If button B is pressed, it should present 1. If button A is pressed, it should present 2. And then if both of them are pressed, it should be represent 3. So let's try that one. It's a bit trickier than, let's see, did I copy all of that code? I did. Okay, so all the way up here. Nope, clearly didn't copy it correctly. Selected. There. Again, I've copied the dots over, so that's not really what I want. Okay. So display. No, so decimal equals decimal plus 1. Okay. Actually, that one should be decimal should be equal to 3 because that's what it says on 2. So it says here, if you press A, it should display 2. So, and then this one should be equals 1. And then we have to add one more. So we need to do if button A and so we need button A dot is pressed. Okay, again 2 brackets, and button B dot is underscore pressed, 2 brackets. Then it should be, we missed the 2 dots at the end there, decimal equals the value 3. Okay, so what does it say? If button A is pressed, you say you represent 2. Button B is pressed, it says 1. If both of them are pressed, it puts the 2 of them together. So 2 plus 1 gives you the value 3, of course. So let's try and see, does that work? So of course it's 0 to begin with here. So button B, if I press it, it comes up with 1. Button A is 2. And both of them together is 3. So there you go, you've made a very simple binary number representative. Okay, and then 3. So it's 3 combinations or 4 combinations. So 0, nothing's pressed. 1's pressed, you get number 1. 2 pressed, you get number 2, and then both of them together gives you number 3. Okay, that's how it works. So again, take a screenshot of that and place it in 2 teams. And last one, let's try this one, let's see what happens. Here, the MU editor one, so we need to use MU editor for this one. So I've just moved it up a little bit. You can see it says, copy the program below. This is identical from code from task 1. Change, replace line 4 instead of displaying the value. Print the value to here on the plotter. Okay, so let's see, does that work? Let's see. Right, just make it tidy a little bit here. So we're just going to flash that. It should show the light value on here. Okay, so we want to change that line to not do that. We want to print it. We want to print that line. Here, I'm going to print it. So I'm not sure. Let's see, does that work? Okay, so if I open up plotter here, there we go. You can see it drops when I put my finger over it. And I'll just turn off the, oh, it's moving along now, yeah. So if I move it to just desktop, oh no, if I go back to here, you can see the values are there. So if I turn off the light, the value drops. There it is, it's coming along. Yeah, turn on the light, the value goes back up. If I do a little bit of it, changes the values, here they come. So here you go, it's plotting it. I should be able to also see that on the output. There it is, it's showing me the values on the side here. So just if it's just at the top here, you can see the values showing up. So I can turn it off, turn it on. It's quite sensitive actually, it gets rid of the light very quick. So you can try that one. Okay, that's another challenge for you there. Again, take a screenshot. For this one, I would take a screenshot of everything here. So take a screenshot of all of this and then place that onto your team. I think that's it. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, guys. Fantastic work. And that's the end of that activity.